Relic 9. Currently the highest Relic level in this game, and also the most expensive, not just because of what it costs to go from Relic 8 to Relic 9, but you have to get all the way to Relic 8 first, and then Relic 9 is more expensive than all the other levels before it. Not only is it the highest level, it is the hardest to pull off, especially as a free player, and especially in a smaller account, because you need these droid brains, which are limited to TW, a few other rare instances, or straight up crystal purchases, or straight up buy. So I'm trying to answer in this video, who do you want to take to Relic 9? Specifically, I'm going to go over 10 characters that I think are great choices for Relic 9 and why. But before we get into that, let's talk about what you actually get from Relic 9. So first of all, the cost. This is my boss here on the main account. He's Relic 8, and he's also a tank, so it's a great demonstration. You need a lot of signal data, 30 of the first two types and 55 of the dark blue. That takes quite a while. And then you need 20 of the last 6 relic pieces: droid brains, Gerda keypads, arrow magnifiers, impulse detectors, Zim biddles. Well, actually, all 8 pieces you need 20 of. Rhodiums, electriums, chromiums, all of them. So it takes quite a lot to take just one character from Relic 8 to Relic 9. And you really want to focus for the most part on tanks, because when you upgrade a tank, they get a buttload of protection. So some of this is from mastery, some of it is just from the straight up, generic relic upgrade. But they do, for Relic 8 to 9, change things up a bit compared to other relic levels, which are more or less generic by class, and the mastery of each individual character. But from Relic 8 to Relic 9, it differs for supports, tanks, healers, and attackers. So boss would go from 13, he's got 13,200 protection from all relic levels 1 through 8. But to go to 9, he'll get to 33,400. So that's not quite, but almost tripling the amount of protection he gets. It's worth noting that protection is not a stat that's generically given through relic increases, but only through gear level upgrades and then mastery for tanks. Health is also a significant jump for a tank: 22,644 on boss to 35,868 at Relic 9. And then he's got a little bit of health steal, some of his other stuff, damage, armor, all that. But the most important thing we're looking at is protection and health. And tanks are way above what support and attackers get. And just note, for the damage increase for boss, he doesn't have attack mastery or offense mastery, but he's only going from 1761 to 1856. This is what he got from Relics 1 through 8, and this is what he'll get from Relic 9. It's less than 100, and if we compare that to Revenue's an attacker going from Relic 7 to Relic 8, he would get over 600 extra physical damage. So going from Relic 7 to Relic 8 gives you a lot more damage, but Relic 9 doesn't really do too much for attackers in that regard. So for an example of an attacker going from Relic 8 to Relic 9, I have my Grievous here. Even with the mastery increase, it's still a small comparative jump compared to Relic 7 to Relic 8. So he's got 3522 from Relic 1 through 8, totaled up, and 3795 once he goes to Relic 9. So that's better than a tank. It's 270, but it's nothing like the 600 you see if I were to take an attacker like Revan from Relic 7 to Relic 8. And then the protection boosts. It's very clear what's coming from Relic 9, because as an attacker, he didn't get any protection all the way to Relic 8. Relic 9 gets 6,000. It's not small, but it's not a ton. And he also looks like he's getting close to 6,000 health. So it really doesn't do as much for attackers. And then finally, the impact for a support character like my Shock T's at Relic 8 to Relic 9. They get a little bit more in the protection, 9,000. But the physical damage is even lower than I saw for boss, or maybe it's the same. It's like 50. Not much in the way of damage or crit chance. Health looks like she's getting 7,000 or so, and her mastery does not include health. So it's pretty close to 7,000 in the jump for health. So supports are a little bit better than attackers potentially, but still nothing compared to tanks. So what I'm not going to focus on in this video, but it is something you can consider when trying to Relic 9 characters. For my list of recommended Relic 9 characters, I'm not going to be including raid characters, because while they have come out and said this will last a full year from launch to end, it's not permanent, and I want this video to be more so evergreen. So I have taken a few characters to Relic 9 for this raid, my Dark Side clones. I plan on taking Tarkin and Scourge to Relic 9 for the purpose of this raid, but I'm a very endgame player, and I generally wouldn't say you should do that for characters unless you really like them or you're in an endgame guild, you have plenty of other stuff, your roster's very developed, and you don't mind spending it. I also took Queen Amidala and R2-D2 up to Relic 9 for the previous Naboo raid, but that's not something I would probably do outside of that raid consideration. Also, what I'm not going to feature in my list is Galactic Legend requirements to Relic 9, so they're not too many. I think just Ahsoka and Galactic Legend Hondo have requirements. Ahsoka required every prior version of herself at Relic 9. Some of those are great choices. Commander Ahsoka Tano. Ahsoka Tano Snips is not bad. And then Hondo required Hondo. Bad requirement, but General Skywalker or General Kenobi, those are pretty good R9s, but I'm not going to be featuring them on the list, although I'd consider General Kenobi and General Skywalker kind of an honorable mention for the Relic 9 level, because they're pretty good at it. But anyway, let's get into the top 10 list for Relic 9. So the first character that comes to my mind for Relic 9 is Jedi Master Luke, and yes, while he's not the most compelling Galactic Legend, and it's not as pressing of a priority as it was in the past, maybe, Relic 9 on JML is still an amazing move. One, he's a tank, so he is getting a lot of extra health and protection to begin with for his base. And second, you're doing a lot of damage based on his max protection. So if you're using him in the lead, everyone gets the inherited teachings, granted ability, and they call allies to assist, doing damage equal to 60% of his base max protection. So that includes what's modified by mods, it's modified by Datacron stats, but nothing by abilities. So it's not going to be modified by his Galactic Legend ability. That being said, this Galactic Legend ability is a good reason why Galactic Legends in general do benefit from higher relics. They get an extra 10% max health and max protection per relic amplifier level on top of what they're already getting. So JML is a particularly compelling Galactic Legend because his protection base without going to Relic 9 is a little bit lackluster. So here I have SWGOH pulled up. At Relic 7, his base protection is only 50,000. That's actually shockingly low for what he is as a Galactic Legend. For reference, Jedi Knight Luke Skywalker has more protection than Jedi Master Luke at this level. And there it is, 77,000 base protection for Jedi Knight Luke Skywalker. Granted, he has some of the highest base protection at Gear 13 in the game, and protection for non-attackers doesn't change from Gear 13 up until you get to Relic 9, and it's just an arbitrary number assigned to every character. When they make them, they decide they're going to have this much protection at this gear level, this one, and Jedi Knight Luke Skywalker just happens to have a really high base. And to be fair, he still has a higher protection total than Jedi Master Luke Skywalker at Relic 9, but you're going from like 50,000 just or so to 74,000, so it's almost plus 50% protection for Jedi Master Luke, which not only is all that damage, but of course it's the survivability as well. So at Relic 9, you can push over 150, maybe even 160,000 protection, but at Relic 7, you're hoping to get just over 100,000. So it's an extreme improvement from many standpoints for Jedi Master Luke. And while Jedi Master Luke was the very first Relic 9 ever applied on my main account, his sister Leia, Galactic Legend Leia, was the first R9 I applied on my small account, GoTakes account, which I forgot to mention in my weekly update, but he's got Relic 9 Leia now. One, she's a Galactic Legend tank, so she has impressive stats. It's not all about the protection for her, though. As you see on my modding, I barely have any extra protection, but for her, it's mainly about health. And while it's not exactly as much of a direct, compelling argument as Jedi Master Luke, she is still doing... protection would be more compelling if everything was based on protection here, because she could get probably a higher protection total. But she does damage based on her health, notably during her ultimate. That's the main instance of it. So if you pull the ults, you do 30% of her max health as damage, but if an enemy is ambushed, you do 90%. So it's almost like an insta-kill on enemies that have ambush, because if they have ambushed, they don't have any protection active. So she's just taking them if they're not a Galactic Legend or someone with extreme health pool, they're going from 100% to 0. Or if they don't, I think bonus protection might help them. I don't know if that's, can't remember if that's disabled by ambushed. But she also does some damage based on her max health. So in her middle special, she deals bonus damage equal to 10% of her max health. That's not the most compelling argument for it, but she is fulfilling a indirect tank role. You do, if you're fighting against her on defense, you're going to be going for her first because she penalizes you for hitting enemies, and the higher her health and protection pool is, the harder she is to take down. Then also on her turn, she can heal up really easily, equalize her health and protection. That's just percentage wise with allies. So if you have allies with full health and protection and they're not necessarily high totals, but she's really weak and then they're full health, she's going to almost go all the way full health and protection. And the more health and protection she has to that end, it's going to be more impactful. And then also, of course, she has the Galactic Legend ability. And she's the last Galactic Legend I'm putting on this list. GL Ahsoka is also a tank Galactic Legend, but her main compelling asset is Ezra. And he's actually kind of more valuable than her in a lot of ways, because without him, she's not really worth the price of admission. However, Ezra, I do think, is worth a Relic 9. So I'm putting him as the third character on this list. And he is not a tank. He is a support. So why is he such a compelling argument for Relic 9? So for one, his mastery is one of the best masteries in the game. Crit chance, crit damage, deflection, and dodge chance. So he is an agility support. And while he's a support, he acts also like a tank, but then he also acts like an attacker. So he has everything going for him. If you put him with any really any light side Galactic Legend except like JML, you can scale up his mastery more or less infinitely. With Rey or with JMK or with Ahsoka, it's going all the way to the roof. You're increasing his damage near infinitely, his dodge chance, so you literally cannot hit him. It's the best defensive stat in the game. If you can't hit him, it doesn't matter what his health pool or his defense pool is. It just doesn't matter. And then he's also acts like a support. He's a cheater. He acts like every role. So Relic 9, the more relic levels you have, the higher his mastery is, so the higher he gets to critical mass of like 100% dodge chance. And also just, he's an amazing character. I mean, he's gonna do, he does tons of damage. I don't have too much to say. It's just he's really, really good, and the mastery is kind of crazy. But I did a ranking recently where I put him as the second best character in the game that's not a GL, so it felt fitting to put him at number 3 on this list if you do have him available to you. Number 4 for Relic 9s, we have Admiral Piet, so another non-tank. And I mean, for him, it's all about the ship. You get, I think, 2 extra speed on the Executor when you get him to Relic 9. Maybe it's even 3. I don't know. But you get some extra speed, which is really important for mirror matches, important for every battle in general. A lot of ship counters are very speed specific, so a Relic 9 compared to a Relic 8 can make a huge difference. Stat-wise on him, it's not super big anyway. Either way, like, he gets a little bit of protection, but if he's on a team, it's kind of all about, with the standard Imperial Troopers, it's about not getting hit at all. So Relic 9, for him as a character, is not that important, but for him as a fleet commander is very important. And I'm not putting Admiral Raddus or Darth Revan on this list because while the same thing applies to them, their ship is better at Relic 9. You cannot have a Profundity or a Leviathan with a Relic 8 pilot. They are required at Relic 9 for the capital ship. And Malak, could be considered for this list if he weren't required as well. So it's kind of like the GL thing. If they're required at Relic 9, they're not really part of the list. So, yeah, it's them alone. I wouldn't be pushing for them at Relic 9 if you're not going for the ship. So, yeah, they are not on this list. Number 5 on this list is a twofer, Padawan Obi-Wan and Master Qui-Gon. So the reason I'm lumping them together is because there's not really much point in taking one to Relic 9 without the other, and stat-wise, they don't really have compelling arguments for Relic 9 on their own. Obi-Wan is an attacker, and Master Qui-Gon is a support, and they do great damage, but yeah, Relic 8 would be just fine if that was your end goal. But instead, you get a fantastic assault battle with awesome rewards, which at the Relic 9 tier, you're going to be getting more materials for Relic 9. Now, you'll get, you're going to get guaranteed credits and crystals But you'll either get Gerda keypads or droid brains. So every time this comes around, I'm hoping I get droid brains. A lot of times I still get Gerda keypads. But that's just 2 characters, and that's every month you're going to get 5 relic pieces. So if you just do some math, it would take, if you assume you'll get 1 of each every other, it takes like 16 months to make back those just specifically Relic 9 investment materials. But hey, that's a pretty good deal. So just 2 characters at Relic 9, you're going to get repeated rewards for as long as this game goes on. And number 6 on this list is Darth Malgus. So associated with that Leviathan fleet, he's not the fleet commander, but he is also a pilot for it. So Fury, the faster the better, the more survivable the better. It's kind of a flimsy ship to start, and it's kind of a slow ship as well, but it's got all kinds of boosts from the Leviathan as a capital ship and all the buffs it gives out. It's loaded. It's a really good ship. But not only is it a really good ship, it's a really good character. So for a Relic 9 character, he's a tank, and he's getting tons of health and protection. Health being paramount to his kit, but also, don't slack on the protection. Like, that extra protection makes him extremely hard to deal with. And while he's not as good of a defensive character anymore in the end game, he kind of is in the early game. He's just like a character that you kind of want either a complete overpowering of or an insta-kill available for him. Because part of his unique, he just comes back, it's listed somewhere, he starts at full health and full protection whenever a battle starts. So you can't Zerg him down. And he's really thick to get through. While health is how he does damage through this ability, protection is keeping him alive. So both of those are very compelling. So mine here is almost like 300,000 combined health and protection, which is amazing. And then just add in the fact that you have Fury there as well. I think he's a really easy call for Relic 9. Number 7, in my opinion, is Baylan Skoll, because he is one of the more compelling journey guide characters we have in this game. I'm going for him before a lot of other options on my small account this go around. But as a tank, he is really benefiting from that Relic 9. And he's just one of the better characters that we have in the game that is a tank. So his stats really go up. He is a traditional tank in that he is forcing taunt on himself, taking hits. He also does some pretty good damage. But not that the Relic 9 is a big impact for the damage, but the Relic 8 along the way is pretty impactful. And, if he goes down, the whole thing's going to fall apart, whether you're on offense or defense. And his team has plenty of damage to go around him. They just need a little bit of time to get going, and he buys them that time with his survivability. If you give him his Omicron, he's really going to beat the tar out of a Jedi Master Kenobi team, and just all kinds of stuff. He's kind of like a Swiss Army knife to take down non-Galactic Legend characters. And if you're going out there with a weaker, less survivable Baylan Skoll, you're kind of going to regret it. So I think some people might be down on Baylan and his usefulness, but I think he's pretty awesome. So number 7 on this list for me. Number 8 on this list, and the first character that I don't have at Relic 9 on my main account, is Morgan Elsbeth. Just quite frankly, she's an awesome tank, extremely thick. I only have her at Relic 7, but I still have over 100,000 of both health and protection on her. At Relic 9, she'd be considerably more formidable as a tank. She has a very persistent taunt. It's not locked, but it's all but. That Great Mother's team is insanely powerful, and if you can't get past Morgan, you're just not going to get it done. So, a few main counters or Sith Empire, whether Darth Revan lead or Malgus, if she is just too thick to get around, then you're screwed. And if you load her up with tenacity, which I don't because she's Relic 7, so she needs extra survivability on this account. But if I had a Relic 9, I could have some of those similar stats plus load up her tenacity and keep the shock off her and the doubt or the buff immunity, the healing immunity, all that. She has so much recovery built into her kit too. She gives out 50% max protection to her whole team. So the higher your protection is to begin, if you're Relic 9, that's an extremely high total. Look at this. Protection recovery there. Protection recovery. It's all over the place in her kit. Health recovery too. So she's just a fantastic tank. So she's like the second marquee on this list. Well, I guess Master Qui-Gon, Padawan Obi-Wan, but she's one of the rare marquees that I'm saying is quite useful for Relic 9 as long as you have that team. probably won't regret it, and she's on my short list for the next few Relic 9s. And number 9 on my Relic 9 list is Chrysanthemum. So, on the Galactic Legend Java team, I highly recommend, even if you're taking multiple characters to Relic 9 on that team, I recommend him before Java, because 1, he's a tank, gets crazy good stats from it. But 2, his just protection total is already pretty high, and it just gets to insane levels with this at Relic 7. And then also you have his Omicron. He gives himself another 40% max protection, his health and protection and recovery all the time. And if you just can't get past Java or get past Chrysanthemum, you can't really do anything on that Java team. You know, plenty of people go for tenacity modding. You could still have a lot of protection that way. I don't have good tenacity mods on my account. I've never really focused on them, so I don't really have that available to me. But there's nothing scarier than a Relic 9 Chrysanthemum with tons of tenacity. And whenever I get myself some good tenacity mods with protection primaries, you'll be seeing him loaded up with those as well. So I think number 9 is Chrysanthemum. And the final entry on this list for me is Mace Windu. Mace Windu is just a beast. He's a stat beast, and he's not nowhere near as good as Ezra, but he kind of has the same thing going on where he's a tank, but he acts like an attacker and like a support character. He's got good damage, so many support mechanics, swapping turn meter, stunning, removing turn meter. The shatter point mechanic is quite valuable, getting foresight on everybody. Not only that, his stats, he just has... Getting him to Relic 9 really makes him more of a viable tank for a tank's sake. So he doesn't have a standard taunt. He gets resilient defense, which forces people to attack him just for a few hits. But if you don't have him at Relic 9, he's a little bit more flimsy. So his base protection for me is 73,000 now, and 34,000 of that is from high relic. So he doesn't have a high base protection when you get him to Year 13. You really need the relics to do that. Right now, I have him modded for health because of how I'm using him with the Jedi Master Kenobi team. But he can get his protection really high as well. He also has protection recovery mechanics. Through this, the swap, if you hit someone's shatter point, you get 30% protection back. And, you know, not trivially, he is a fleet commander to quite a good capital ship. The Endurance is an amazing ship. I've used it for a year and a half now or so. Well, not the entire time. Over a year to climb to number 1 in my GoTanks fleet arena. I don't have Relic 9 on that account, but I'm able to beat Executors. Profundity, I need a Negotiator, but I've beaten Leviathans. Just an extremely strong capital ship that got a rework a couple years ago. And, you know, I think people are kind of sleeping on the viability of it here and there, but I think it's starting to get more respect. But, you know, the better your mace is, the better your endurance is going to be, and that's just really rounding out your fleet. Even if you're endgame, if you're like mid-game, I'm probably not going to say push for Relic 9 Mace Windu, but I do not regret my choice to take him to Relic 9 one bit. So that's the top 10 list, and a few honorable mentions I just want to throw out there because people think I'm crazy if I don't. The Peridia Pals. The same thing going on with them as Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon, but the thing is you need 3 full characters at Relic 9 instead of 2. I do think Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan are better characters in general, and when I took them to Relic 9, they were also in the featured raid. So it's something to consider. You know, it's a choice a lot of people decide to make. I haven't pulled that trigger yet on this account myself, but it's there. And then some more honorable mentions are just Galactic Legends in general. Some of the more compelling ones are the ones that stack their mastery really high, like Supreme Lord Kylo, Rey. I think Lord Vader's another good one. I think kind of the back burner ones are Sith Eternal Emperor and JMK. Ahsoka Tano is just kind of a low priority overall. And I have plenty of other Relic 9s on this account. One thing to note is Reva would be kind of a focus, but she does not get the same boosts as a Relic 9 tank. So I still have mine at Relic 8. She's only going to get 5,000 health or so and 8,000 protection for Relic 9, which I don't know if it's just an oversight, but I think they have to be aware of it and they haven't fixed her. So she does not get the same stat boost from Relic 9. And I guess I could sort by Relic Amplifier level to show everything that I have. There we go. So, characters like Dark True Moff Gideon, I think he's great. Relic 9, just not quite the same priority as the others. Darth Bane, great, but again, he's more of an attacker, so he's not getting as much of a boost. Jedi Knight Luke, he's an attacker, you know, all this. So there's plenty of characters that you could take to Relic 9 and make some sense. Like Sith Trooper, he has a ship, but I did it for platoons and TB. So that's another thing. TB, your guild might need you to get some Relic 9s just to push them further, and that's very generous of you if you do decide to take a crappy character to Relic 9 for that purpose. But anyway, that's going to be it for me. 10 that I like to focus on, excluding, you know, requirements. And yeah, let me know what you think. I'd love to hear from you. Thanks so much for watching. See you later.